What's happening, gentlemen? Steve Mayeda here with the TSL Podcast, and today we are talking about the beginner's guide to seduction, all the different things that you're going to go through when you get started with your dating life, when you get started meeting women. Perhaps it's after a divorce, or perhaps you've had social anxiety all of your life, but a lot of the things that you're going to go through, the trouble that you're going to hit, and how you're going to solve those things. So pretty important stuff if you're getting started with this whole thing, because you could have a great dating life and a sexual life, and that's really what we do here at The Sexual Life. So this is being recorded live on our Men's Development Excellence call. It's September 20th, 2017. And what we do on these calls is we unify as a group and we talk about a lot of stuff. There's actually a guy who just brought up a question about some of the basics in dating, a lot of the trouble that he's going through. And he's really, there's 13 guys on the call and they're just jumping on this. So what I want you to do is, if this is something that you are taking seriously in your life, getting started with dating on any level, I don't care if you're 45, I don't care if you're 19, but what I want you to do is I want you to check out our community. We have a world of stuff for you to visit. Now, first, let's start off with subscribing to this channel. And when you do that, click the bell, because that's going to let you know when new videos come up that are about the specific topic that will take you through everything you need to know. There's also our playlists. There's things like our social dynamics playlist or our sexual escalation playlist, all sorts of stuff that dealing with the right mindset, all sorts of stuff on men's development that you can tap into. But more importantly, go to the free stuff link down below, because there's a free course that will get you started on everything that you need to know. That's the Instant Connection course. It's free, 4-part video series, and it will really do you some good to get started. And then the last thing is our communities. Other than downloading our free PDFs and all that sort of stuff, our communities are the way to go. Our Men's Development Excellence call is a paid group, but there's also our free Austin Men's Development community that is a good place to get started. In any case, let's get into this. So some of the things that happen when we get started in dating is, what we need to realize is there's a couple of distinct phases. In fact, there's 5 things that we're going to need to go over and get through, and they're really basic. They might be like, oh, but let's go into detail about what you're going to struggle with and how you're going to get comfortable with these things. So each of these phases you're going to need to get comfortable with. You're going to need to gain functionality with it. And then through that, you can understand the meaning of it and also your drivers propelling you. So a lot of things that might be pushing you towards this are things like, man, I just want to get laid. I want to be with somebody. I want to connect. I want to be myself, and so on. But the thing there is, that's your drive, right? In order to understand your drive, you're going to have to get the function of it. And you're also going to have to get comfortable in whatever that situation is. So let's talk about these phases, and we'll just go through them really quick. But the first one is going to be being able to meet women. The second one is going to be able to get into some sort of rapport or comfort situation with women. The third is going to be able to state intent, and this separates you from the friend zone and all that sort of stuff. The fourth is going to be dating, and the fifth is going to be being sexual. And we're not just done there. We're going to cycle it again after that, but perhaps another video for it. But that's going to get you started. If we can get you to the functionality of that, you're going to start understanding a lot more about your masculinity and sex. So number one is meeting women. How do we do this? Look, we want to make this as simple as possible. Now, a lot of times when we meet women, we want to dive in and get all crazy with different stuff. We want to start, approaching the hottest girls. We make approaching women about our masculinity and who we are. These are all ways to confuse yourself more. What you want to do is you want to make this normal, simple, because meeting women and getting social is ultimately going to be a social expression of yourself, and it's a natural one, meaning that it doesn't have to be a big deal. So let's start talking to everybody. Let's start talking to men. Let's start talking to women. Let's start talking to people you're not attracted to, people that you don't want something from, and build conversations with that. Now, if you get the Instant Connection course, it's literally a step-by-step map on how to do that. But let's start with saying hello to people. Let's start with asking people about their day. Now, the goal in this, yes, sure, down the road is to get a great dating life. But the goal first, or initially, to get all of this is to be able to just very simply feel comfortable in this situation. So you want to feel comfortable. You want to be at peace in this situation. You want to not feel nervous, to let your guard down, because when we get into that situation where we can just talk and converse, we get into something called rapport. All right. Now, this leads us to our next phase, which is rapport, but a couple tricks to get there from meeting women to rapport is, let's say we say hello to somebody. We say, hey, how's it going? So that's our way of talking to somebody. And let's make it easy. Let's just do it with somebody at a cafe. In fact, there's an excellent breakdown of this in one of our social anxiety videos. So if you have that, or if you're a guy that, I mean, you don't have social anxiety, but you just want to get started in a conversation, watch that video. It's good stuff. So let's just say hello to somebody. Say, hey, how's it going? How's your day going? Right? Very simple, open-ended. It's a cafe person. You know, they're going to be nice to us. But the thing is we're not trying to get some huge thing. We're trying to learn a social dynamic and build the value of connection. So we're then going to say like, hey, you know, I want to ask you something. Like, are you somebody that is from here? Or are you from somewhere else? And they say whatever they say. You know, they say they're from somewhere else. They say, okay. So a lot of times people that move to a town rather than grew up in a town or grew up in a city or whatever it is, they grew up with a different perspective. So I'm just explaining it, right? So I asked a question that was kind of specific, that would give me a specific answer. And now I'm explaining why I asked that question. All right. And just so you guys know, anything that gets left out in this, because it's all a one take video that's recorded live on our call, that I put it in the show notes. So even the dialogue of this, if there's room, because I can only do 5,000 words, it's in the show notes on the YouTube channel. So check that out. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff, all that free stuff and yada, yada, yada. So the thing is I'm just saying like, are you from here or are you from somewhere else? They say whatever. They say I'm from here or I'm from somewhere else or whatever. They say, oh man, it's interesting because it changes how people think. And that's kind of a cool thing, you know. Man, the fact that you're, let's say, from here and, you know, it just has to do with a different mindset. Would you say you're somebody that like is open-minded? And everybody says yes to that, but are you open-minded in a way where like a true friend could come to you with something that like, that really means something? Are you the go-to person for that? Or is that somebody else in your group? So all there, I'm just defining a personality trait. Now, also we have videos on connection and eliciting values and tipping points of rapport. That's one of them actually. And that's a way where I move from say hello to get to that rapport. Now, all of that period there can be nerve-wracking for you. So if you're new with this, and again, in that instant connection course, that's mapped out for you. That process, that step-by-step pattern, and there's so many of them, it's there and it's going to make you nervous. You're going to obsess about it. This is part of your Achilles heel of beginning, right? Is you get so wrapped up in the process or the technique or other pickup people have negs and teases and all this other sort of stuff, which is all great. It all can work, but it can also not work in some very consistent ways, is that you get caught up in that process. The thing is you want to get that process to lead you to rapport. Because once you get to that second phase of rapport, you're yourself. You stop worrying about the process. You stop worrying about your anxiety. Your social anxiety goes away and you start free flowing. Okay, so rapport, you might be going, what do I talk about? Well, there's a couple things. There's the identity workbook. Just get the instant connection course. But the identity workbook allows us to talk about ourselves and so on, and, you know, be able to analyze our self-perception, our social perception, our beliefs, and all these things that we can talk about in rapport. But if we learn to present those things, man, it really helps us out in a lot of different ways. So in rapport, our key is to be able to get comfortable talking about ourselves and caring about somebody else. And that's really what rapport is I care about you, you care about me. Now, when we get there, what is so tough about guys, because a lot of guys will say, well, I get into a conversation and it just kind of happens and that's cool, but where do I go with it from there? You know, women choose me or that sort of thing. We then need to start getting good at stating intent. Now, this is a big jumping point for people, but the way to go from rapport to intent is going to be is if I can get something really deep or something that they know about themselves. And don't be intimidated by this. You might say, well, I don't like having deep conversations, but it's really easy. All I have to do is get a value of theirs or get a unique quality of theirs, or all I have to do is get something that is very special to them, get them to really share it and say, hey, man, I like you because of that. And that's where my intent goes. So let's say we talk about that and we just say like, oh, would you say you're an open-minded person? We're doing that same opening thing. And they say, yeah, I'm an open-minded person. So we'll just start there. Like, yeah, I'm open-minded. My friends do come to me with that. And it's, you know, it's weird that you ask that here while working at this cafe, blah, 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 blah. And you could say, man, that's such a cool thing. Like, so I would say I'm a very open-minded person. A lot of people come to me with stuff, but what's more special about fixing that situation or listening to them is really that I'm trusted on that level. Like what would you say is the most special thing about that? So I'm really trying to get the real them, right? I'm trying to get the real them out of it very quick. I mean, this will take you like 30 seconds, 2 minutes. It will not take you long. This can be done, on your coffee break from work. It's very easy to do, and you should make it normal and natural. Again, we want to get comfortable with this. So how do I get intent? And this could be with somebody that I'm not even that attracted to, but I can still state an intention, a movement in a certain direction. That's important, right? Or she could be somebody I'm attracted to and I want to date. So she says, no, man, what I think is special about me or about that whole situation is that that somebody sees me as that good person. That's really cool. So she now shared her real self. She gave that to me. She gave me that. That's rapport. That's rapport right there. All right. Now I need to state intent towards it. Wow. That is cool. And what intent does is it puts a definition on the conversation. How so many guys end up in the friend zone is that they act like a friend. They don't ever state intent. They never put it on the line. And that's not even putting that much on the line there. I'm just saying like, wow, that is really attractive. Like, man, that's really attractive that you say that. Man, I like that. Like, what's your number? Let's hang out sometime. And so that's how we state intention. Now, if it's somebody that we're not attracted to, we could say like, man, that's really beautiful. That you would say, that's fucking cool. Man, you're an amazing person. Remember that, or whatever, so we're putting it in a direction, and we can't be afraid of that. Now, this fourth phase that we go to is the dating world. So once we get into that dating world, we got to get this functioning. This is a little bit different. Okay. So this is where it's like, guys, man, get on our groups. If you are willing to get on to MD Excellence or actually AMD Plus, and step it down, one-time payment. And as I'm recording this September 20th, 2017, it's $50, one-time payment. You get on AMD Plus, that'll get you Formula 69. That'll get you it'll get you a ton of stuff. But in Formula 69, it breaks this down sequentially, right? Meet people, build a connection, get rapport, get a date, get that date to stick, get a kiss, all right, and move that kiss into seduction. All right, it'll tell you step-by-step how to do that for a one-time payment at 9-part video series, super high value, along with a ton of other stuff. And it will get you on one of our paid boards, which is even better. So here's the thing, is that when we do that, right, when we get into a dating world, we want our dates to stick. So this will involve some texting, this will involve some phone conversation, all that sort of stuff. But what a dating life should be like is something that we don't have to work so hard at. Once again, remember the Achilles heel of the beginner when we were getting started with dating and seduction is to overthink the process, to overvalue that process, to overvalue the map, and we build up all this tension around it. But once we get into like some connection with somebody, we forget about the process and map, and that was just a template to help us get started. That's what dating should be like. So dating should not be overthought. We need to get into that mode. We need to realize it's about fun. We need to realize it's about adventure. We need to realize it's about connection. And here's the deal with dating, guys, is if a girl goes on a date with you, there's actually a video that we published just recently, today on the 20th, on 10 signs she wants to sleep with you or something of that nature. I'll put a link to it. But if a girl goes on a date with you and she starts asking personal questions about your life, or she gets really close to you, or she goes back to your place, or she initiates some form of isolation, this is how we move to sexual. It's so quick. It's so fast. It's so easy. There's such an advantage to being on a date with somebody where we need to get comfortable with that and get sexually active. All right. So on the dating world, what we need to do is we need to date women. We need to go to 2-3 different locations, whatever it is, but as quick as possible. And there's so many templates for it, man. There's a date guide template on the free stuff link where you'll have a 90-minute date and you'll start to get sexual with people. It's really easy. It's super, super easy to do. But our point to get going from dating to sexual, what's going to help us there is to lead that interaction. We need to know about resistance. We need to know about how to deal with it. And it's super easy. We can say like, hey, let's go back to my place. Oh, well, I don't do that. I don't hook up with people on my first date, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm not bringing any of that. I'm just saying, let's go back to my place. Like, let's go back and hang out. We could decide whatever we're going to do. Well, why are you building up all this resistance around it? When you say that, it actually makes me think like I'm some sort of like axe murderer or something, man. Don't just come on, let's go. All it needs is that little bit of leadership. All it needs is that little bit of sway in that direction. And then we can get isolated and move into the choice of seduction because she can still decide not to sleep with us. It's very simple, right? We want that there. If she's not choosing, it's like sex is unenjoyable. So we need to move through those phases and get comfortable with them. That's all very easy to do. And there's a map for you to do that with the Instant Connection course. And especially if you get AMD Plus with the Formula 69 course, it's just so mapped out for you. But the important thing is we need to get comfortable with that and learn our language. These are the things that are going to happen. We're going to overthink things. We're going to have doubt about them. But it's so important that we move along this line. We're going to look at multiple different products and different ways and methodologies. Remember, the method is just something there that's going to confuse you about dating and sex. We need to realize that the most important part of this is getting comfortable and gaining functionality of meeting women, getting rapport, starting to move into intent, getting a dating life, and then getting sexual. And when we gain functionality of that, of us doing that, we'll then find the meaning in it all. And we'll stop making pickup or seduction or meeting women about this being a man or having to be alpha or whatever. We won't even think about that anymore. That's what guys who don't get laid or don't have confidence in themselves do. Like, we'll be able to move into that, into just whatever our expression of our life is. And that is really the sexual life, and that's what we're all about. So look, guys, if you liked this and you want more information and specific information on dating, sex, social dynamics, relationships, or even all of men's development, man, hit the subscribe and click the bell, because it will let you know when we put up a new video. It's super awesome. Now, in that, we have tons of playlists. We have over 700 videos that talk about dating, sex, getting in shape, having the right perspective, 12-step recovery, all sorts of stuff that is going to help you change your beliefs, be a better man, and all those different things. But most importantly, if this is a problem for you, let's solve it right now with the Instant Connection course. And if you have a little bit of cash, man, $50 will get you the AMD Plus, will get you on an exclusive board, as well as the Formula 69 course, which is just, man, seriously, that will change your entire life. So that's a great way to get your feet wet. In any case, I'm Steve Mayeda signing off. Watch these two videos that we have listed here for you to check out, because I recommended them for a reason: to better your life, to get sexual, and to be a man. All right, talk to you soon.